This episode is brought to you by Bureau, our title sponsor. With 8 vibrant locations in Miami's best neighborhoods, Bureau is the perfect co-working place to work, network, and thrive alongside other entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, and local businesses. Find your space at bureaumiami.com. Well, we're live with Jimmy Tate.
Yeah, we are.
Thanks for letting us crash your office.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Felipe fucked up on the reservation, which actually probably worked out great for you.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm glad I didn't have to grow downtown.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I forgot to book the room at Bureau, and so I reached out to Paola, which is a sponsor of the podcast, Top of Mind PR, and that connected us with Jimmy. Said, hey, I fucked up. Can we do it at Jimmy's? And here we are today in North Miami. This actually worked out better for me too. I live in the shores, so
there you go.
It's perfect.
Concierge podcast service.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
I like that.
We don't go on the road with the podcast. We used to at the very beginning, but now we for every once in a while we do.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
Let me tell you, you're established if you don't have to go on the road.
It's a lot easier for the setup and everything and moving all the shit around. But well, welcome, Jimmy. We're excited to chat with you and talk about your story. We're in basically Main Street, North Miami.
125th.
125th. A lot of cool shit happening here in North Miami too.
Yes, there really is. Yeah.
And you live in the area?
I do. Keystone Point.
Okay, cool. So office is like 3.5 minutes away.
If that.
Smart man.
If that, yeah. There's pros and cons because sometimes on weekends I'm like, oh, shit, I got to run in the office, or, you know, don't mind if I go sign some papers, or someone left something for me, there's checks, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, so it's good to have it closed, but then sometimes you find too many excuses to get over the office when you really should just stay at home on the weekend.
Well, hey, before we start, we got to start off with a proper cheers here.
I was going to say, where's the cheers, fellas?
Right here.
Whoop.
You're good. Stay there. We'll come to you.
Yeah, we'll come to you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jimmy.
Nice.
We're sipping a little Basil Hayden subtle smoke.
Oh, I like the subtle smoke.
Yeah, it's a nice bottle of Basil Hayden. We've drank this on the podcast once before with Bob.
Someone else from Keystone Point.
Someone else from Keystone Point. Do you know
Bob Benyo.
Bob Benyo?
I do not.
No? Yeah.
One of your neighbors, apparently.
Yeah.
We had his listing. He had a warehouse here at 1690 Northeast 134th Street. And it was more like a man cave, full of motorcycles that he would refurbish, old Japanese bikes, Kawasaki's, and yeah, really cool listing. That was fun.
I was at a very cool warehouse right around the corner, Barry Skolnick.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah.
And iconic. And talk about a car and motorcycle collection.
I'm sure. What kind of collection does he have over there? What kind of cars?
You name it, he has it. But I would say he probably has one of the top collections, definitely in Florida, maybe in the country.
Okay. But just different cars, or does he have like
he had a whole Ferrari room, probably 15, 20 Ferraris. He had, he had classics. He had, the old Indians and motorcycles and Harley Davidsons and, Bugattis. Yeah. I mean, you name it, he has it.
Very cool.
And most of his vehicles he drives.
Oh,
so
nice.
like they're all high performance. He takes them out.
Yeah.
Had a couple, I'm not a car enthusiast, but it was impressive.
Okay.
And it's a very cool, it's beyond a man cave because it's its office and he holds events there, but it's got great art, great car, like everything's an exhibit.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
And it's a great function place, but that's his office. And it was really
nice.
It was nice to see stuff like that literally 30 seconds away from here.
Cool.
Yeah. North Miami's changing quite a bit.
It sure is. We've been here a long time.
Yeah, so you guys, so let's take this back, right? Like
all the way.
All the way.
All right. Record scratch.
This is deep. This is deep.
Where are your parents from?
So interesting. My dad is from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn.
Okay.
Real street kid. Grew up. I was born in 1928. Depression baby. Really defined who he was as a man. And my mom is from Akron, Ohio, and her family goes way, 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 way back, probably 6 generations from my mom.
Wow.
So she's early American.
Wow.
So we're not even sure. We've tried to do some trees, and we've gotten back to early 1800s.
Dang. In your dad's side?
My dad's side, his dad was from Odessa, so Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine, yeah.
And my grandmother was from Romania.
Okay. My dad is from a town in Brazil, which is outside São Paulo, called Novo Odessa.
We got a special guest.
Yeah, come on in.
Paola's here.
Paola's here.
Facilitator.
Yeah, she's our babysitter. To make sure that
Keeps you guys under control.
No, it's not us, Jimmy. It's you. She's making sure that you're not going to say any stupid shit on this podcast. Welcome, Paola.
Oh, maybe taking you guys.
Stuff does slip out every so often.
She's the adult in the room today.
We need one.
Welcome, Paola.
Thank you.
How are you?
Happy to be here.
Good to have you. Hey.
We were just getting into Jimmy's background. So your dad is from Odessa.
No, my grandfather, my dad's father was from Odessa.
Got it.
Which is now Ukraine. And probably trying to get back to Russia per Putin. And my grandmother's from Romania, his mom. And my mom's parents are both from Ohio. And their parents were from Ohio. And it seems my mom's side goes way, way, way back.
And your dad, you said he was a Depression baby. He started the Tate, what was the company he started? Tate Builders?
So he started Stanley Tate Builders in 1954. He actually...
In New York?
No, he started down here. So what happened was my father, his parents were poor, not doing well after the Depression. His father went bankrupt, and they were living in Sheepshead Bay, which was a very rough part of town at the time. It was a ghetto, and he had rheumatic fever, and the doctors back then said salt air would be very good for him. So they sent him down here to live with his uncle, my grandmother's brother, and the rest of the family was stayed up there. So I think it was 12 or 13 when he moved down here. So he came down here on his own. Something happened. I still don't know the whole story, but he didn't last long with his uncle. And then Mrs. Lear took him in, and he lived at Lear School, which was right here on the water next to the Jockey Club. And he boarded there, and he was very, very smart. He's Mensa, very high IQ. He graduated, I think, at 16, went up to University of Florida, which at that time was actually where FSU was in Tallahassee. And my mother happened to be there 2 years later, and she was a freshman coming in. That's where they met.
Got it.
That's awesome. How did the real estate company come about for him?
So my grandfather, my mom's side of the family, he moved down from Ohio in the late 30s and had a building company with a gentleman by the name of Cole and a building distribution supply company. And then he got into building. He started building warehouses and a lot of the tin tea warehouses in Wynwood.
Really?
My grandfather built.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And then he was building hotels in Miami Beach, and then retired when he was like 40.
So he was building that stuff in Wynwood in the 50s?
60s, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
And so what happened was my grandfather was retired. My mom met my dad. They wanted to get married. Dad was very bright, but had no career. And so my grandfather went back to work to teach my dad the business. But my dad was too hungry, too focused, too fierce. And my grandfather said, I'm going back to retirement. So he stopped in like around 1954. And that's when my dad started Stanley Tate Builders, Inc.
Ben, you know what they say in real estate, if people don't know you, they're not doing business with you.
Exactly. That's why the Built World podcast works with top-of-mind public relations, because being a best-kept secret sure doesn't pay the bills.
Paula Uspa-Abbott, the brains behind Top of Mind PR, is a former real estate journalist, so she knows exactly what makes the media pay attention.
And let's be real, getting in the press isn't just about bragging rights. It's about building credibility, landing deals, and making sure the right people know your name.
Whether it's top-tier media coverage, killer storytelling, or just making sure you're the one people think of first, Top of Mind PR has you covered.
Want to stand out? Hit up topofmind-pr.com or email info@topofmind-pr.com.
Because in real estate, if you're not visible, you're invisible.
And what kind of stuff was he building? What was his focus on?
He was building most of the homes in Normandy Isle, like Miami Beach, and somehow he met Shepherd Broad, I guess through my grandfather, my mom's father, and they moved to Bay Harbor, lived in a duplex on the East Island, and Shepherd Broad just took my father in and was like a mentor to him, and he asked my dad to start building, and my dad was probably the largest builder of homes in Bay Harbor at the time, very, very prolific, and then he and Shepherd got very...
So this is 60s now?
50s and 60s.
50s and 60s.
And I'll tell you how long ago it was. I'm going to really shock you. His lots for an inland were $3,000 a lot.
Dang.
Wow.
The waterfront were $6,000. And my dad owned all the lots in the middle where our house was. And the reason he didn't go to the water were twofold. My mom was worried that one of her kids would fall into the bay. And my dad was worried that Bay Harbor was going to sink. And he didn't trust Shepherd's development capabilities. So he picked the highest point. So our house at one time had about 8 or 10 lots, and then he sold them off because he needed the money. But so he built most of the homes in Bay Harbor. And then he got on the council with Shepherd at Shepherd's request. And so Shepherd was mayor for like 20 years. And then my dad became mayor of Bay Harbor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For a long time.
Oh, cool.
Is that where you grew up, Bay Harbor?
I grew up Bay Harbor Islands.
That's
not
awesome.
Far. And my dad's offices were right here on 125th Street.
Really? In this building, or?
No, so he had a public company called Ryerson and Haynes in the early 70s. And so that was right on by the railroad tracks on the south side, brown building. I think there's a CrossFit there now. And then his partner, my Uncle Ed, they were doing a lot of warehouse building, a lot of development around Florida. And they had a company called, it was a window company, actually. My Uncle Ed had a window company, and they merged it with Mary Carter Paint and became Paradise Island Developers. And they went to Paradise Island to develop Paradise Island, which is now where Kerzner's, what's Atlantis? So they were Paradise Island developers. They developed that whole south section of Nassau.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then, which is now, I think, I'm drawing a blank, Atlantis.
Yep.
And the Cove. So,
So much history there. And your
Right.
dad and your uncle were partners?
yeah.
Just like you and your brother.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So he wasn't my real uncle. We called him Uncle Ed, but he was like an uncle. He lived down the street from us. My dad and him shared a double-sided desk, office, and they did a lot of good stuff together. And he was just a major part of our family. And so then they sold it to Resorts International, and
Wow.
and that's how Resorts International actually got started.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
So what was it like growing up in Bay Harbor Islands?
it was great. It was a little town. To me, it was all I knew. And, it's such a different lifestyle growing up when I grew up versus my kids and my kids' kids. So at 6 years old, I was walking to school by myself.
What school did you go to?
Bay Harbor Elementary.
Okay.
Right. And we'd all meet at the corner and cross the street. We had, our friends were I forgot what they called
crosswalk
it.
vests?
The crosswalk vests, and they were the patrols. And,
That's amazing.
Real
Small town vibe. Yeah.
It was a very small town vibe. And I was there from elementary school, preschool all the way to about 5th grade. Because it was a public school and I had ADD and I was all over the place, every day, I'll tell you how small the town it was. Every day I'd leave school and I'd start walking down 125th Street. Actually, there it's called 96th Street, where all the stores are. So there was a movie theater. I'd go in there. They all knew who I was. They'd give me popcorn and I'd keep walking. I'd always end up at the drugstore, and at the drugstore he would call the police, who was Lee, and Lee would call my mom, and my mom would come pick me up. And this went on for about 2 months, and finally she took me to Miami Country Day School and dropped me off there.
This is like, it's like Mayberry in Miami.
It really was Mayberry. Yeah. It was great, though. I mean, I'm still friends with all my friends. We call ourselves the Bay Harbor Boys. And there are also a lot of Bay Harbor girls, but, we were a rat pack, and we're still all friends. We still go to dinner all the time. We talk, and my closest friends are my friends from my childhood.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What an amazing way to grow up.
It was great.
Not a story you think of when growing up in Miami Beach.
Yeah. No. Well, Miami Beach, for us, was a small town. Right. For everyone else, it's a big town, but it was a very small town. We used to go on the bus. We used to just go to the beach. We rode our bicycle everywhere. Like there were no limitations. There was no, you can't go here. You can't. It was safe. It was fun. It was just a lifestyle. I mean, every weekend we were at the beach and swimming, and my parents had no clue where I was. I just knew when it got dark, I had to be home for dinner.
Yeah.
When the lights come on.
And the lights come on, that's it. Right, you go home.
Hell yeah.
We used to play football on the street every day. This police officer Lee, he'd stop and play with us. He'd be quarterback for a while, and
that's amazing.
It was great. It was a great area to grow up in.
What were you into as a kid? I mean, were you following your dad around on real estate projects? What were your interests growing up?
I was pure kid. I was into trouble, but not bad trouble. I was always mischievous, but in a good way. I had a fun personality, so I was always into something.
A lot of ding-dong ditch?
Yeah, ding-dong ditch. Yeah, but I played a lot of football, played a lot of sports. We had our whole group of friends played anything with a ball we did, and...
You play any sports in high school?
So it's interesting. When I was at Country Day, I played all the sports. I played soccer. I was on the track team. I played basketball. And I thought I was a hot shot in soccer until I go to Beach High. Nobody spoke English, and I was the odd guy out. And I realized I wasn't as fast as I thought. I wasn't as good as I thought. But so I did not play at Beach High. But
so wait, you went to Country Day and then you went to Beach High?
Yeah, I'm really not a private school type kid growing up. I was a scrapper, so I was always getting in trouble.
Yeah, you're kicking people's asses.
So it's very funny. When I first went to school, my background is I was Jewish, and Country Day was owned by a church, and so they made us say a prayer. I didn't know the prayer, and it put me like there's only like 10 Jews at the time, and once I found out I was Jewish, I hate to say it was a little anti-Semitic back there, and I was always getting black eye, tooth knocked or something. And it's so different to think about parents today who we call helicopter parents or hovers, right? Like today, a parent would go in and threaten to sue the school. Not my mom. She took me to Biscayne Boulevard, 68th Street. There was a karate school, dropped me off and said, teach my kid how to defend himself. and I got, which was good and bad, I got really into karate, learned how to fight, and actually started fighting tournaments and got really good with my nunchucks. And within about a 6-month period, I started doing a little damage to a couple of people at the school. Broke one kid's arm, busted another kid's nose. So I'll tell you how crazy the school was. They were complaining that I was too good of a fighter. So it's a true story. They made me go behind the gym and put on gloves to finish the fight. And they wouldn't let me use my feet. And I was really good with my feet.
Yeah.
And who would make you do this?
The school.
Wow.
Yes.
These are like sanctioned fights.
Yeah.
This is like hockey.
So I went back to my sensei and I go, Sensei, they're not letting me use my feet. It's not fair. They put these gloves on. I can't maneuver. So they taught me how to fight with my fist. And that's where I learned my back spinning punch and stuff like that. Anyways, they decided it was probably best not to have these kids fight me. No, to not have these other kids fighting me.
That's amazing.
And I basically told my mom at the time. So at the time, Country Day didn't even have a high school. So my high school year, which I was very friendly with a lot of kids in the class, by the time I got to the 9th grade, I really did not want to go to high school there. I wanted to go to Beach High. All my friends from Bay Harbor were at Beach High. And I also had a very bad toboggan accident in my 9th grade year. So I was homeschooled for probably 4 months. I hit a tree and I broke.
Where were you tobogganing?
Where was I?
Yeah.
In North Carolina mountains, Christmas night. Yeah.
Dang.
And I was in traction for 6 weeks in the hospital. And anyways, I couldn't. They wanted to put me on a body cast. Like they don't do that anymore, but they wanted to put me on a body cast. And we convinced them not to, but I wasn't allowed to leave my house. So I had to be homeschooled. And by the time I got back, it was April. So I only had like a month left of school. And I just convinced my parents to let me go back to public school. So I went to Beach High and got reunited with all my buddies from Bay Harbor and met up.
How'd you do in high school? Were you a good student?
So I never read a book throughout high school. I mean, I'm being honest. I just didn't.
Just Playboys and penthouses.
No, you don't have to read those.
You read those you check those out for the articles, of course, right?
Of course. You may be.
Yeah, I'm there for the articles.
Yeah. So, I don't know how I graduated high school, to be honest with you.
Were you a math guy? Was that your?
No, I wasn't. I was really good at writing. I'm really good I was good at English. I was good at writing, and I'm a history buff. So I won't say I have a photographic memory, but if I read something, I write it down. I never forget it. I still know my phone numbers of all my friends from when I was a kid.
Dang.
Even today, it's just, I write everything down. So I still use my little day timer. I write it down. I never forget. So that's just how my mind worked. So again, I probably had some type of learning issue that, today I would have been labeled and
or
probably drugged up
sucks.
and everything, but thank God they never did. And today it's a big asset to me because I know how to function at a high level. I got great peripheral capability. And that, my ADD or my energy has all been channeled, and I'm able to use it to my benefit. So, the problem today, so many parents that drug the kids, they make them incapable of doing anything.
Yep.
You just need to learn to teach people how to use what they have so they can perform at a high level with whatever it is they have. Everybody can achieve success. You just got to figure out how.
Ben, you and I are all about PropTech, and if there's one tool we absolutely cannot live without for our commercial real estate brokerage business, it's Vista.
Absolutely. Vista is incredible. We use it every single day, and we're always wondering, how do they do this? Every evening we get an email from them with real-time closed transactions. No more waiting around for months for the property appraiser to finally update.
Yeah, whether you're doing industrial, retail, office, land deals, they have every closed transaction. And it's not just the speed, Ben. The details are on point. Seller and buyer info, contact details, phone numbers, emails, everything is accurate.
It's hands down our top prospecting tool to farm for warehouse deals in Hialeah. Vista keeps us one step ahead always. It's also the best way to search for comps when putting together opinions of values for clients.
Head on over to Vista.com and use code BuiltWorld and get 30 days free access today. VIZZDA.com. Yep, agreed.
What was your first job? Did you have a job in high school?
I did. So my father and my Uncle Ed had a large development in Delray. It's called High Point Communities, and they were building a lot of condominiums at the time. And I had to go there and work on the construction site. And I'll never forget, they had me cleaning the floor. So when you have a slab and then you put up the drywall, all the excess spackle, that's called snots, and they get all over the floor. And it gets hard. It's hard to get off. So you have to use these long poles, put razors, and scrape it off. It's hard work. So my dad made me do that because he was a tough guy. So he wanted me school of hard knocks. So I did that, and then I really enjoyed it. And then every summer, the day I got home, I had to go to work. I worked at High Point. And then my father and our family bought a golf course. And so my senior year, I got to work at the golf course at the pro shop.
What golf course did you guys buy?
It was called Villa Del Rey Golf Course. And it was great. It was right off a military trail just north of Atlantic. And it was surrounded by 9,000 residential condominium units. So it was a semi-private course. We did, believe it or not, 70,000 rounds a year.
Wow.
So it was great. But, that's when I realized I was a good hustler because, so when we had a pro shop, which was empty when I got there, I said, listen, do you mind if I try to fill this up and make some money here? And they said no. And they had, we used to buy Izod.
Yep.
And so at the time, Izod cost was $1. And I used to buy my sports goods at Lombard's, which was on 163rd Street, which is a thing of the past. It was like the first larger store, discount sporting goods store, which, there was very few of those. And I think they had one down south. And I was in there and I was looking, I noticed, how come you guys don't have any Izod? They go, we can't get it. I'm like, how about if I sell it to you? How are you going to get it? I said, well, I can buy it through my green shop and sell it to you. Well, that summer I made quite a bit of money.
Did you pay full retail and then just mark it up for them?
Well, no, I bought it wholesale.
Oh, nice.
But you're only allowed to sell it at your
store, right?
Right. So I was jobbing. I was selling it to them. we were selling so much volume, they came to our store because they couldn't understand how I was selling so much at a tiny little store. And then they shut us down. But I realized that...
What, they don't like money? What
right,
the hell?
I realized that I like business. I like making money. I like hustling. I like working hard. I just enjoy talking to people. And
So how old were you when you were swindling Lacoste shirts, or what is it?
I was in college, so 20.
Oh, you were in so you did make it to college.
I did.
Yeah.
So college, believe it or not, I did very well.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how. I met a girl there who was very smart and studied. She was in the library a lot, so I guess I wanted to just hang out with her. So I was in the library a lot. I actually graduated with a 3.3 grade point average.
What school?
University of Florida.
Okay.
Majored in economics and minored in psychology because I love psychology. And it was a great path. And I was actually, after school, she went up to New York to go to NYU Law School. So I figured, all right, I'll go to New York. We had already broken up, but I figured I'll just go to New York because everyone's going to New York anyways. And I'll never forget it. My dad had an office in New York, and he wanted to meet with me. He's like, come meet me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, why are you trying to move to New York? And I'm like, well, what am I going to do in Miami? And New York, there's a lot of opportunity. He's like, what degree do you have? I go, economics. He's like, that and $10 is going to get you $10. He goes, why don't you come learn a trade and then go do whatever you want? I go, all right, what do you want me to learn? He goes, well, you worked on construction your whole life. Why don't you come learn how to build? So I came back down to Miami, and I don't know if I'm going too fast for you.
No, this is great.
No, I came back down to Miami, and this project was in Delray, and my brother was actually running the development at the time. My brother Kenny is 11 years older than me, so
It's just you two?
I have a sister that also lives in Chicago, so there's three of us. So my brother is 11 years older, my sister is 9 years older, but I was really raised like an only child because when they were out of the house, I was still a kid. So I have just a completely different relationship with my parents than they did. And I had a completely different relationship with them as a child than I do now today. So anyways, I came back and I worked for my brother, who's difficult. And I worked for my father, who's extremely difficult. And
They're the problem, not you, right, Jimmy?
That's always the fact. Look, my dad's old school. He's just hard knocks, no nonsense, doesn't take crap. Yes, sir, no, ma'am. I still call people yes, sir, no, ma'am. Like to this day, I don't care who you are. If I don't know you, you're sir. If I don't know you, you're ma'am, unless you tell me to direct you otherwise. All my friends would call all the other parents' friends by their first name and stuff like that. And it was always, for me, like, so one of my closest friends growing up was Scott and Craig Robbins. And so their fathers, Jerry and Joan. And I would always say, Mr. and Mrs. Robbins. And they'd look at me like I'm from Mars. And they're like, I'm Jerry, this is Joan. I'm like, okay, Mr. Robbins. I couldn't come out of my mouth, but that's how I was brought up. So I have like a military school type background, but I never went to military school. So it was very structured in my house and very strict. So, my dad had certain rules and you abided by them. And if you didn't, it was not a good weekend.
Yeah.
It's that Depression era, mentality.
Yeah, it is.
Hardcore. So you came down to work on it was in Delray?
So it was Delray. It's called High Point of Delray. And it was pretty easy, actually. So he put me in the field for about 2 months, 3 months, working with the super on the whole project. And then their project manager of the whole thing, his name was Chuck Sornos. God, I can't believe I just remembered that. This was in 1985.
Wow.
So he sent Chuck on like a 8-month sabbatical, full paid. He said, Chuck, just leave. I want my son to finish. There's about 180 units, but it was a cookie cutter. So they were quadruplexes. So to give you an idea how systematic it was, in the Delray communities, there were 8 sections. I think there were over 3,000 units. And every unit, so every quadruplex was the exact same. So it wasn't rocket science and it wasn't a difficult puzzle. And every subcontractor had been with my father for, at that time, 20 years because they started High Point communities in the 60s. So, and there were a lot of them. There was one in Boynton, there was one in Fort Pierce, there was one in Stewart, there was one in Orlando. So these were cookie cutter, all the same quadruplexes. So basically in one day, you can go from where the engineers were using a transit, to shoot the 4 corners before they start anything, to where they did all the grading, to where they did the forming, to where they did all the below grade work, to where they were pouring the slab, to putting up the CBS block, to framing the columns and beams and flying the trusses, putting on the sheathing, et cetera, all the way down. So you can learn building if you pay attention in one day.
Yeah.
You can literally go from here to there and see every aspect of construction and every subcontractor involved in the process.
Super cool.
And so I didn't realize what my dad was doing, but to his credit, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And my brother's a disciplinarian as well. But I looked at my brother, who at the time, I was 21 when I graduated, I guess. Maybe turned 22. I just turned 22. And I was telling my brother, I said, Kenny, you're 33. I love you, but I don't want to be you when I'm 33. I want to be working for Dad, listening to his nonsense every Sunday night at family dinners, going over sales, going over work. I don't want that. It's not for me. And I was there, and I would go cash my checks every week at a bank with Sunrise Savings and Loan. And I got friendly with who I didn't realize at the time was the president. And he knew who I was, but I didn't know who he was. And I was just talking to him, and he was saying, like, if you don't like what you're doing, why don't you go out on your own? And I'm like, it's all I know. It's hard to go out on your own. So anyways, he goes, here, we have all these REOs. I go, what's an REO? Real estate owned. I go, all right. He goes, well, there's a lot of property here that's valuable. Why don't you go through it, see if it's something you want? I'm sure, it will be a great start for you. Fast forward, I found these 12 lots that were 95% developed in Jacaranda, called Jacaranda Cove.
Where's Jacaranda?
In Plantation.
Okay.
And they were all on the water. And the bank took them back. Their loan amount was $960,000. I remember this like it was yesterday. I'm like, wow, this is great. I drove there. I looked at them. They were amazing. And all the homes around there were beautiful. It's a country club. It's a golf course. Really beautiful area. So I go to my brother. I go, Kenny, I'm now 20. Let's see, this is 1986. So I was 23. So I said to my brother, I said, Kenny, I want to go out on my own. Got these lots. I want to buy them. I said, but you're the money guy, okay? Because my brother's a financial genius. He literally is. He was a mathematical engineer at undergrad at Vandy and got his master's at Duke. I think he got a perfect score in his
SAT
on his math.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally a genius. My whole family, they're all geniuses.
What happened to you?
Except me. Exactly. I was going to say,
hey, you got the spinning back fist.
Right. So it's true. My sister's kids off the charts. He went to Yale. I mean, they're all, phew. And then there's me. But I got the personality. So
it's all about sales.
It's all about sales.
Some of you might know that I'm in the middle of building a Live Local project right now, and finding an internet provider was way more annoying than it should have been. Endless acronyms, pricing all over the place, and me chasing these guys for proposals. Then luckily, I came across Celerity Fiber, South Florida's boutique internet provider for new developments and multifamily communities. Working with them feels like working with a company your friend owns. They actually answer calls and texts, send quotes fast, and are genuinely great to work with. Celerity designs and installs fiber internet built for modern living. Fast, reliable, and ready from day one. From luxury high-rises to affordable communities, they deliver high-speed, scalable internet with white glove service and local support. The kind big internet service providers just can't match. So if you want to future-proof your property and keep your residents happy, check out celerityfiber.com. That's spelled CELERITY, fiber.com, and let them know the Built World sent you. Celerity Fiber, powering connections, elevating experiences.
So I said to my brother, I said, look, Kenny, I know how to build. In my head, I thought I knew more than I really did. I said, I know how to sell. And I said, why don't we buy these? You run all the books. I was making $500 a week at the time. I said, I just need $500 to live. I figured out how to do it. So first 500 goes to me. Everything else we split 50-50. We started our company, Tate Development Corporation, in October of 1986. And that's how we started. And so fast forward on those lots, this was my first, learning period of how to really negotiate. So my brother's like, but we're not paying $960. I go, what do you mean? That's what they cost. He goes, no, go off from $250. I'm like, what? I'm like, Kenny, I got friendly with this guy. Jimmy, go off from $250. So I go back and I said, listen, all I can pay is $250. And he looks at me, he goes, $250? He came back. He goes, how about if you pay $600? I'm like, oh my God. This is great. So I go back to my brother all proud. Hey, Kenny, I got him down to 600. He goes, okay, now they just showed us they're willing to negotiate. Go back at 300. Fast forward, we negotiate down to 360, 30,000 a lot. I'm like, oh my God. So now I learned the art of negotiation.
And the loan was 960, but what were they actually like? What were they valued at? What was the loan, the LTV on that thing?
Well, so the loan was at 960, right? So we got it at 360. So ours was 30,000. So it was less than a third, but we got it. But that was the loan amount. So
right, that's what I'm saying.
So they were obviously had a much higher value. They were valued probably at 50, 60,000, 70,000.
Wow.
So fast forward, we get it down. He goes, all right, now where are you going to get the money? And I'm like, don't you have money?
Yeah, I thought you had it.
And he's like, no. He's like, I said, Dad will give it to me. He goes, yeah, good luck with that one. I meet with my father and I show him. I said, Dad, look, I appreciate all you've done, but I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to go out on my own. Kenny's going to run the books. I'm going to do everything else. I know how to build, thanks to you. And he's like, okay, so what do you want? I said, I need the 360,000 to buy this. He goes, okay, and then what? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you buy it, where are you going to get the money to finish it? Where are you going to get, I'm like, so how much money do you think I need? So he's like, go speak to your brother, give me a business plan, and come back and meet me. So I go back to my brother, I go, Dad wants a business plan. He wants to know how much money we need, how we're going to use it, how it's going to allocate, blah, blah, blah. So my brother does a business plan, a cash flow analysis. I read it. I have him explain it to me, I thought. Go to my father. I go sell my father. Asked me 3 questions. I didn't know any of the answers. I said, I'll be back. I go back to my brother. He explains it to me. I go back to my dad. Fast forward. He's lent us the money, 10%. Never forget. I go, Kenny, Dad's lent it to us at 10%. We go to the bank. We borrow the money. We put the land up as our collateral. We borrow the money. And we build two spec homes. The first one was $375,000. The other was $420,000. Back then, the rule of thumb was a lot should be 1/4 the price of the house. So we established a lot price between $80,000 and $100,000, $125,000. Now what was happening, unbeknownst to me, people were coming to buy the lots. And they were offering me $100,000+ a lot. So I'm like, we sold those houses. I started another house. And then someone wanted to buy like 6 lots. So I said, Dad, how much to pay you off? He goes, what do you mean pay me off? I said, yeah, someone's going to pay me $120,000 per lot, and I'm just going to sell a lot. And he tore me a new asshole. He goes, I didn't lend you this fucking money for you to go make quick buck. He goes, I lent you the money to learn a business. You can't sell. I'm like, Dad, this is mine. What do you mean I can't sell? He goes, you sell these, you're on your own. Don't come back to me ever again. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I negotiated with him, because now I know how to negotiate. And I said, let me at least sell enough to pay you off. Fair? And he says, fair. So I did that, paid off the bank, paid off him, and we had the rest. And then we started developing. Then I started developing. I found someone saw these homes. They liked what we were doing. So they asked us to be a preferred builder at a Boca development called Newport Bay Club. And then I got a call from my father out of New York that there was an opportunity at a property in Weston. It was a commercial site. I went to see it. I said, I want to buy it. And he's like, Jimmy, you know nothing about commercial. I said, Dad, I'll learn. I'm a quick study. So I'm sorry. Before that, my brother and I bought 40 acres in Davie, and we did a development called the Hamlet and 35 builder acre lots. And when we were doing that, I got the call from my dad. Now this is like 1986, 87, 88. I got a call. We want to buy this shopping center. Actually, it wasn't. It was like 80. It was all around the same time, 86, because I bought it in 86. We bought the land I tied up the property in Weston. And I said, Dad, I need $100,000 to buy the guy out. He goes, I'll give you the $100,000. I'll lend you the $100,000, 10%, to put up the deposit, but you cannot go hard unless you bring me a lease. I said, what kind of lease? He goes, you need a key tenant. I'm like, okay. So I'm like thinking, all right, shopping center, so I didn't know anyone. So I called a large developer at the time. They owned a company called Centrum. It was Mark Friedland, who was Jerry Robbins' Joel Friedland's son. So Jerry and Rob, they own a company. Jerry Robinson, Joel had a large development company, and Mark was on his own, had a real estate commercial development company. So I went to Mark. He helped me out. He says, you need really one key tenant. So the only person I knew in the business was Lewis Wilson, who owned Woodmeco Theaters and Woodmeco and Seaquarium. So I called Lewis. He goes, we just sold our company, but Art Hertz and Mike Brown, who own Woodmeco and own the Seaquarium, they own Woodmeco Theaters. So go meet Art. I go, I don't know Art. He goes, I'll introduce you. So no, Art's a big guy in town. To me, he's just Mr. Hertz, right? So I go to his office. I'm meeting, Mr. Hertz and Mr. Brown. And I present this whole package, and they said, what do you want? I said, I want to build a shopping center. I want you to be my anchor. It's in Weston. It's a hot area, and I tell them all about it. And at the time, Disney was involved, and Sandy Myatt was running the development out there. It was Arvida. And fast forward, Art says, okay, we'll do it. So I called my dad. True story. My brother and I had bought my dad. We were doing quite well. So we bought my dad one of those new Corvettes when they first came out, but it wasn't my dad's style, but as a thank you. And he never drove it. So I said, all right.
He was just kind of an understated guy. He didn't want to be flashy.
No. So I said,
Depression
all right.
area, right?
Right. Like, so I took it, and I was driving, and I was so excited, because so this is 86, 87. I'm 23 years old. I'm already doing several $1 million of business, like right out of school on my own. I just got a handshake deal, and every deal I was doing was a handshake. So, and the deal we did on the shopping center was a handshake deal with a guy by the name of Oscar Wynn, who was a very large land developer at the time. And it was really refreshing, because he said to me, he goes, are you going to do this deal? And I go, yes, sir, I'm going to do it. He goes, look me in the eye. And he looks me in the eye and shake my hand. He goes, you know what that means? I go, yeah, my word's my bond. He goes, exactly. He goes, so I'm going to bank on you doing everything you tell me you're going to do. No problem, sir. So when I did this, I knew I was going to be able to perform. I was so excited. I-75 was just brand new, open. No cars on it. I was probably doing 120 because it was a vet. I got arrested.
Felipe, ever since we moved into Bureau, my productivity has been through the roof. I mean, I might actually be getting things done for once.
The energy at Bureau just makes work fun. Plus, with 8 locations across South Florida, from South Miami all the way to Hollywood, there's no excuse for not finding a spot to get your shit done, Ben.
And we're not alone. Over 500 local companies call Bureau home. Everything from creative agencies and real estate firms to tech startups, law firms, and media companies. It's a melting pot of brilliant people, and we don't include ourselves in that category.
We definitely don't include ourselves in that category. Bureau really has space for anyone, whether you're flying solo or have a team. There are suites starting at 100 square feet all the way up to 2,000 square feet. They also don't try to lock you into long-term agreements, and everything is month to month.
Let's not forget the important stuff either. The coffee is top tier, staff is incredible, and has a very entrepreneurial vibe. It's not just a workspace, it's a place where work actually gets done.
That's right, Ben. So if you want to level up your workday like we try to do every day, check out Bureau. You might even catch us sipping some espressos between podcast sessions.
Or tequila.
Definitely tequila.
Tell Bureau the Built World sent you, and you'll get 50% off your first month's membership. See you out there. Cheers.
Later.
I can't call my dad because, so that won't fly. So I call my dad's assistant, who's in Delray. Her name was Brenda. I said, Bren, I got arrested. This is what happened.
Wait, they actually arrested you for driving?
Oh, this cop was pissed.
Yeah.
And the funny part was, so I get in the car and I'm trying to explain to him, and he didn't want to have any of it. He was like not listening to me. And I begged him. I said, sir, you don't understand. As bad as you're going to, ruin me right now, my father's going to ruin me worse. And you just, can't you just I've learned my lesson. I won't do it. I promise. He gets a call and he drops me off at this halfway house where it's like a holding station on the expressway where the Florida Highway Patrol is at. So I'm there and they have me sitting in this area, and I convinced the guy to let me go. Because I was there for an hour. I didn't shut up. He just wanted me to shut up and leave. And he said, I'll give you your call. So I called Brenda because they didn't book me yet. So they didn't take me downtown to book me. So he goes, I'll let you make a call. I called Brenda. I said, Bren, here's where I'm at. Get down here. And the guy said, if you get out of here before they come back, you can leave, but you cannot drive that car. I said, no problem. So Brenda came down. I forgot to tell her to bring someone else. So I drove her car. She drove the vet. We got out of there. And fast forward, Art Hertz and Mike Brown ended up becoming our partners. They didn't have money to really do the deal either. So my dad lent them money to do 50%. They wanted to actually own 50% of the center. So he lent them the money. He lent my brother and I the money. And we ended up developing. I still own that property today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's
And what's on the property
It's
today?
called the Indian Trace Center. We have an AMC, beautiful theater. I have Sherwin-Williams. We have a Dollar Tree. We have, I got well, it was Schwinn bicycles. Now it's whoever just bought them.
Okay.
We have a lot of big tenants. It's a great pet supply plus. It's in Weston. It's right on I-75.
Cool.
And so that was my first shopping center, and it meant a lot. I not only did I build it, but I leased it. So I was leasing it. I signed 100%. I called every lease, signed every lease.
Wow.
I did every single one of them.
Dang.
Yeah.
What do you think was the reason for just like the immediate success? Was it good timing? I mean, being able to pick off that REO portfolio, like what?
Hungry, focused, fierce.
Yeah, just getting after it.
I was working 24/7, 7 days a week.
You weren't married at this point?
I was not. I was just wanting to make money.
Where were you living?
I was living in an apartment up here called Biscayne Cove off of Biscayne Boulevard, about 181st Street.
Okay.
And so I was driving all over the place.
Were you spending money on stupid shit, or were you smart about your money?
No, I didn't buy stupid. I never lived beyond my means.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a fancy, like, I guess I had a nice car. Like, I got myself a convertible BMW, I remember. And then I broke my ankle and it was stick shift, so I couldn't drive it. So
man.
I had to go get a Toyota Supra.
Oh, those are sweet, the old Toyota Supras.
It was. I had a white one.
What year?
That had to be like 90, I guess.
Yeah, those are pretty killer.
That's like a grail car now, isn't it?
Yeah, dude, those things are going for like top dollar right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice. It was a great car.
Yeah.
So, and my one big expenditure at the time, I had a little Scarab. I bought a boat.
Okay.
A 21-foot outboard. But I used to, we used to water ski on it and just go diving on it. It was fun. It was great.
Yeah, you got to live the Florida lifestyle.
I
You're here.
did. So when I was actually working for my brother, like that first year, my best friend at the time was Scott Robbins. He was in D.C. working for Hyman Construction. And so Craig Robbins was at their house on the beach. And every Friday night, I would come down from Delray, have the boat put in the water, pack up for the weekend, go to the Robbins house, spend the weekend. We tooled around on my boat all night. So we went to Shooter. Well, back then, I forgot what it was called. It wasn't Shooters, but whatever the place is right here on North Miami Beach. Can't remember the name of it.
The place that just
Not
closed
Shuck-
down? Shuckers?
Not Shuck. No, that's on North Bay Road. That's on near
North Bay Village.
North Bay Village. No, it was on 163rd, right by where Deezer just bought.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They still have a sports
It's
place.
like an Irish place, isn't it?
No, it was a sports bar outdoor. Everyone went by boat. They had a pool.
Dewey's or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, Dewey's bought it.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Right, but they had a pool outside. It was just, so we go there at night by boat, and we would go to Coconuts down on the off of Key Biscayne by boat, and we'd water ski till 9 o'clock at night all
That's
summer
awesome.
because
That's so
The
fun.
sunset's so late.
it was great.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It was a fun lifestyle.
And that was in the late 80s?
That was in the 80s, like
Wow.
86, 87.
That's like peak Miami
Yes,
in a way.
Yes, it was.
In a
we
way.
We partied hard.
I'm sure. I'm glad someone did it for us. I wasn't here.
What's that place in the Coconut Grove we always ask?
The Mutiny?
The Mutiny. Were you partying at the Mutiny too?
So a friend of ours.
This will say a lot about you.
So there was a place there by the name of Regine's. So so now I'm going to really throw a twist. So my dad used to own Studio 54.
Oh shit! In New York City?
Yeah. So
Dang.
on weekends I would go up there and hang, and then the Robbins owned Regine's at the Mutiny. I think they was at the Mutiny. So we would go
Wow.
there, go studio.
You guys had the full hookup.
We had the
Yeah.
hookup.
North
Holy
and south.
shit.
I saw your dad bought it after Schrager and Rubel shut it down, right? In like
Yeah.
81 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your dad bought it and ran it till 86 or something.
Yeah,
87.
exactly. Yeah, you did your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a legendary run that had to be.
It was a run.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a run.
How'd
And
you
the funny
survive
part,
that?
So here's the funny part. So this is like the first time I really pulled a bamboozle over my father. We used to sneak up there in college because he bought it in, I think he opened in 81. So the grand opening was August of 81. And so throughout my college years on weekends, because my dad was in New York during the week, and it was an all cash business and it was big. So he just worked out in New York just to hang around to control the cash and stuff. And he'd fly home on Fridays. We'd fly up on Fridays. So he never saw me.
Did he know you were going up there?
No clue. And I got friendly with the guys at the door. I got friendly with the main DJ was a guy named Leroy Washington. He used to make us tapes. We'd bring them back to our fraternity and have crazy frat parties.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. So
you're getting the best music from New York City to Gainesville, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking sick.
We rocked it pretty hard.
Yeah.
But the funny part was, I'll never forget, we were at a dinner one night and my dad was telling a bunch of people, and my mom knew I was going up there because I was using their apartment.
Were you partying with Michael Swerdlow?
No.
No? Because he was going to 54 too.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
So we, plus there's a code of silence, right? So there's a bat dome theory.
Not with Michael.
There's a bat dome theory. So in any event, my dad's telling everybody that Jimmy does not go to studio. He's not allowed there. He's never been there, da-da-da-da-da. My mom looks at me and I'm like, should I tell him or no? And she's like, and so my dad's like, right, Jim? I'm like, yes, Dad. Yes, sir. No.
Did he ever find out?
After the fact, he never believed me.
Yeah.
It's because like later in life, I used to say, "Oh man, we used to party so hard at studio." And he's like, "You've never been there." I said, "Dad, you took me to the opening, and I was there a lot." And he's like, "Jimmy, you were never there." I'm like, "Okay, Dad." So
that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Built World Advisors. Yeah, that's us. We're not your typical commercial brokerage. We combine deep market knowledge with a media platform that actually connects to people doing deals, the developers, brokers, architects, and attorneys.
Let's not forget the investors, Ben. From warehouses in East Hialeah to off-market gems in Allapattah, we help you find value where others aren't looking. If you're tired of waiting for opportunities to land in your inbox, let's talk.
Built World Advisors, real estate for the people who get shit done. You can check us out at builtworldadvisors.com. So you did your first shopping center, and as you guys kind of continued your development trajectory, did you start going more the commercial route, or because you were doing a lot of houses?
So
before
we did complete communities from the ground. We buy the acreage, we develop it, and then we build the homes on it. So we were completely vertical as a company. So we were developers and then went vertical. And then same thing with the shopping center. That was a 17-acre tract where I developed it. And then we went vertical, and then we leased it, owned it, operated, managed it. And same thing for the single-family homes in Jacaranda and in Boca. And then next to the golf course, we owned a small little property that had like a small amount of multifamily apartments. So we developed another 40 units onto that. So that was my first multifamily development deal. And we bought an old warehouse that we got a tenant, Massive Produce, and we converted it to a refrigerated warehouse. And we did a bonded lease deal with them. So we were literally in everything. It didn't matter. As long as it made money and there was income to be made from it, we went after it hard.
Did you get to take advantage of the S&L crisis at all?
So I didn't. It's funny you said that. So my dad, because he was lending us money, we had money everywhere. The condition was he wanted to meet with us every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. And we'd meet at a place called Corky's on 163rd Street. And every week he would want cash flow analysis. He wants full reporting on each of the properties. And a report, things are going great for us. He starts telling us, you got too much debt with the banks. I'm like, Dad, I need debt to develop. He goes, I want you to decrease some of your debt. Well, if you do that, then you can't expand because you need debt, and to expand, you need cash to develop, right? Because you have to use your cash to cover the shortfall for the peak equity times. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, these conversations started to get much more heated, and he's like demanding, like smashing the table, demanding that we listen to him and that we get rid of our debt. And I look at my brother, I go, look, Dad's finger is firmly on the pulse. He knows something we don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think we need to start getting rid of our debt. And we listened to him, and we did. I don't even know why we did, because there was no hint in the marketplace that we should, but we just listened to him. But we knew my dad was pretty connected politically in D.C., and he spent a lot of time up there. And what we didn't realize is he was advising Bush Sr. at the time about the crisis that was unfolding, and he was actually working on FIREA, which was a precursor to the Resolution Trust Corporation. So he was aware that this problem was happening. He was one of the brain trusts that actually came up with the whole thought process to give a term of 6 years to get rid of all the assets. He was one of the people in favor of dumping all the assets. Like a lot of people on the FDIC, they didn't want to dump the assets. They wanted to hold them, and my dad's like, no, dump the assets, the market will correct. We have a capitalistic society, let the market correct itself. No influence. If you influence, we're never going to get out of this. And he was right.
So we're sitting in his office over here, and he's got this wall like full of like just like old school, I mean, and new school Republicans. And just for the record, Ben and I are kind of party fluid, right, Ben? We're one of those like
That's very woke of us.
We're one of those they them, in the middle sort of people. But I mean, you got McCain and Cheney up here, and Romney. I mean,
Bush Sr.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
I see Cheney.
Yeah. So how did your dad get connected with all these folks?
So it's interesting. When he was in the 70s, he was fairly successful, but he was doing a lot of, back then there were a lot of tax shelter deals. So if you own, like, for example, if you own the negative of a film in the movie industry, you got a 10-for-1 write-off, right? And so he started buying a lot of B movies. Like he owned with a group of guys out of New York, right around the time with the studio, the Billy Jack movies. He owned the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh shit! I saw that when I was in
Right.
5th grade.
That's a mistake.
That was a mistake. I still haven't watched that movie since. I'm afraid.
So very interesting. So they did that, and then the IRS started going after a lot of, like if you bought. So my brother and my father and a bunch of guys, they bought an IBM mainframe. So you got the 10% write-off on that. That actually ended up becoming profitable. So they had a tax problem.
Oh, wow.
Because they wrote it off, and then they had recapture. But that's another story. But so that one investment actually became profitable. And then they changed the laws that there's got to be a profit motive to the investment. You can't just buy something knowing you're going to lose money and take a write-off, which makes it a gain. So they changed laws. But he had a landmark case with the IRS, and my dad's like very stubborn. He's very righteous, black and white. There's no gray, and he does everything the right way. So if this is the wrong way, this is the right way, he's going to be over here, far right. And they were coming after him for some tax issue, but it wasn't factual. So he fought them, and he fought them and fought them and fought them. And he was right, but it was draining. It was mentally, physically, emotionally exhausting to him, and it drained him mentally, physically, and economically. And he almost went broke again fighting the IRS. And he finally won. He had to just...
What year was this?
This was like I can't remember because it's going back, but I'll give you the end story of it. It started either late 70s or early 80s.
Okay.
It was right around that time. And it didn't help when he then bought Studio, but it was around that time. And he finally won the case, and it was a landmark case in our country. And that's when they actually rewrote, part of the law. But he won the case, but he realized at that time that money wasn't power. Being able to call the President of the United States was power. Being able to be called the governor was power. And a lot of his time and attention went to become more politically inclined. And that's how the whole Florida prepaid college program came up, because he's always been a big proponent of education. He started helping politicians. So he was very friendly with Bob Graham. So he wrote the program under Graham, and then Bob Martinez was running after Bob Graham. He decided to help Bob Martinez win the election because my dad at the time had built probably 7,000 or 8,000 condominiums throughout the state. And he still, because he had all of the 99-year rec leases was in contact with all the homeowners. And he would go and give reports and talk to them because they loved to hear him talk. And he would also write letters to all of them. And so therefore he had a direct line to like 7,000 or 8,000 people in different areas. And so he was really instrumental in helping Bob Graham get his message out at all these condos. And that whole 55 plus market, it was a very tight knit group. So it wasn't just his developments, but all the surrounding developments. So Bob Graham had a pretty easy path, and he got very friendly with my father. And then my father decided to take those political aspirations even higher. And he got friendly with George Senior Bush, and that's how. And then he was called upon by HUD. He helped HUD in D.C. And then after George Senior, obviously he got appointed by Clinton, so he got friendly with Clinton. And then George W.
He sounds like he's one of us. He's like party fluid too.
Yeah.
He's one of the
so as my dad likes to say, and as I like to say, we are bleeding heart Republicans.
Yeah.
So the funny part is everyone thinks I'm a staunch Republican because of my conservative viewpoints. But if you go to Act Blue, I don't know if you guys donate to any political parties, but so Act Blue is like the major political PAC and contribution link to all the Republicans. I'm probably one of the larger Democratic bundlers or economic supporters. And definitely down here in South Florida and probably nationally. I get called by everybody from both parties that run for Congress all around the country. And I do that because I believe we have to have a balance. I'm more of a centrist, I guess, like you guys.
So you're one of the they-thems like us.
I guess so.
You definitely are.
But
I can see it. He's got that look in his eye, right, Ben?
But the truth of the matter is, you need to be fiscally responsible and implement prudent business practices in anything you do, especially government, because there's just so much money and so much waste. And when you have too much money and too much waste, you have crime and you have other issues. And that's where the real problems come in, because government has become too big. And a big government with too much money becomes dangerous. And I will tell you, with my dad, it got, you talk about McCain. I'm not a fan of McCain. So like when he ran against Obama, I didn't vote for him. I don't like Obama, but I didn't like Cain either, so I didn't vote that year.
Okay.
It's the first time I never voted. But I could tell you stories about McCain.
I'm sure.
But so I'm about people, and I register who they are. I look in their eye, I see their soul, and I either feel them or I don't.
Got it.
But I also know a lot of inner workings that really took place. Like even with my dad with the Resolution Trust, he was the first one in the office at 7 in the morning, the last one to leave at 8 at night or 9 at night. That's not how DC works. So he scared everybody. And so I'll give you a quick expert why I don't really like McCain. So there was something called the Keating Five, which was the Lincolnton, I think, savings and loan. So the Keating Five was John Keating, John McCain, a guy by the name of Reagan, and 2 other senators. They all should have gone to jail. What they did was criminal, including McCain. And so when my dad was going to D.C., my dad's nothing like Trump, but in this regard, he is like Trump. He was now very powerful, very wealthy. He needed nothing from anybody, and nobody could control him. And D.C. doesn't like that either. And so he had unanimous support from the Black Caucus. Okay? He had unanimous support from most of the Democrats. Funny part is he's a Republican. He couldn't get the senatorial committee responsible to bring him up for the Senate hearing because the guy, it was Reagan, he was one of the Keating Five. And they feared that if my dad got the official appointment, he was going to send them all to jail. And like everybody, powerful people were meeting with Keating and McCain, and they would not appoint him. So after 11 months, and then they started doing threats on my dad's life. So I don't want to get too much into it, but if you look at the time, so Larry Summers was Secretary of Treasury and Altman was assistant. Both of them left mysteriously right around that time. well, I won't. I'll let you use your mind.
Dang.
So, but
DC's a dirty place.
it's a dirty place. And my dad said it was the biggest legalized mafia in the world.
I believe it.
And so he actually had to get, when he was with Clinton, because of this, he had Secret Service status. So he had protection and all that. But, they started threatening my brother and me. So they Larry Summers dropped the dossier off. That's why when all this shit happened with Summers, I was like laughing. Poetic justice. He put a dossier on my dad's desk and said, Stanley, you should really just leave D.C. What was in there was all the loans my brother and I had. Because at that time, D.C. had control of all the banks. So, there was a blind threat that, hey, we're going to put your boys out of business. And,
right.
And my mom was, and then they started, and that just riled him up even more. So, as I said, my dad's a tough street guy. Let's put it this way. When my dad owned Studio 54, he's the only one that didn't pay a tapping fee. He didn't pay a garbage fee. Nobody messed with my dad.
That's awesome.
And he wasn't involved, but nobody messed with him. Like, he was just a tough guy. So my point is like, he scared them, and they started threatening him, and then started threatening. That didn't work, and then they started threatening us. And then at that point, my mom's like, Stanley, enough's enough. Time to move on. So he left, and he did a news conference, and he basically said, I'm leaving. There's threats on my life, and there were idle threats on my boys. I have 2 books. I was demanded to give one back to the administration, so I'm doing that. But one of my many attorneys has the other copy. It's in a safe. Anything happened to my boys, anything happened to me, there's going to be some good reading.
Fucking
Wow.
That's how he got
Talk
out of
about
DC.
a cover your ass play right
Dead
there,
man
right?
switch.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
So my point is that DC's, the reason he got so involved was because he felt like if you really want to be powerful, you need to have the connections at the highest level. And he used it for good stuff. Like, he was a very philanthropic person. He's all about giving back. He's all about helping our country become better. Even with the whole RTC, the people that really knew that he was instrumental. He was the author of a lot of the stuff. And so Japan, when they had their crisis many years later, they called him. They offered him a boatload to go over to Japan to sort of rewrite a comparable document for there, and he just didn't do it. But then when the crisis started happening again, right around 2007, or really, so he knew about it in 2006.
Really?
Before the 2008 crash. And he was speaking at an ICSC conference. And all I know is I get a call from all these brokers all around the country, like, I think your dad needs to pack it up. He's become a little senile.
Dr. Doom all of a sudden, right?
Like, what is he talking about? Why would he give a speech, at the ICSC? And the person before him was from JP Morgan. And the guy before him was like, pump up the volume, everything's great, everything's good. My dad got up and said, I don't know who that kid is. It may have been Jamie Dimon, I don't know. But I don't know who that kid is, but he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And he was like, start over again. Pay off your debt, time to close up shop, tighten up. And you don't say that at the ICSC, the International Shopping Center Conference Center. So he did, and there was a lot of backlash, but sure enough, within 6 months, boom.
The party stopped.
The music stopped. The party was over. Yeah.
Wow. I love the foresight that he had. I love that the policies he drafted to let the assets go during the RTC days.
Right. It was smart.
It's like every time government intervenes in free markets, the opposite of the intended effect is almost always the outcome.
Because government doesn't know better.
No.
And that's one of the reasons why I like the Republican Party more from a policy perspective than the Democrat, because the Democratic Party just expanded government and more regulations. And the Republican is like, listen, the less regulations because the street knows how to operate better than we know how to operate.
For sure.
And you need to let capitalism work.
Yep.
So, you have to have some regulations, but it can't be just so overburdensome that you can't get anything done.
100%.
Your dad was also pretty instrumental in setting up the Florida prepay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was probably his biggest legacy, in my opinion. There's over 1.6 million families involved in it now.
We're involved in it.
Yeah, I'm involved in it.
I want my kid to go to a state school.
So all my kids,
Fuck that
all
private school.
Yeah, all my kids were in it, and all my grandkids.
Did they all go to state schools?
So no. Well, my oldest daughter went to a school in the state, but it wasn't a university so that didn't work. My middle daughter went to University of Maryland, but ended up coming back and finishing at FIU, so that was good. And my youngest daughter went to University of Miami.
Okay.
So she was going to go to UF, something happened, and she ended up going to UM. And
yeah,
so,
I went to private school, but I'd be more than happy if my son went to a state school.
let me tell you this.
There's some great state schools.
I will tell you, University of Florida is one of the top schools in the country right now.
I know.
It's so I would never get in there.
You have to get like a 1600 on your SAT to get in.
I would never get
It's
in.
fucking crazy.
All I had to do was sign my name.
Yeah.
But now, no shot.
Yeah.
It was difficult, and that's what happened with my daughter. So my youngest daughter, number one on the tennis team, number one on the girls golf team. She actually started the girls golf team. She straight A student, great with extracurricular. But she had ulcerative colitis, and she can't sit down for the test. And they didn't have something for her. She was like one of these tweeners, and that was it. So she didn't score well on the test, and we just had a hard time at UF. And she bled orange and blue. Like we would go to all the games, and she knew the president. Unfortunately, that was the year the president left, and then the new president came in, Fuchs, and so she was just she didn't even apply to another school. So I got very upset with UF over that. And then, thank God, it was May, and school was starting, and there was no more room. And I won't mention the guy's name, but somebody we're very close with down here, who was chairman at the time. I called him. I said, I hate to ask for a favor, but my daughter needs to get into UM. I promise you, she won't let you down. She ended up graduating early, all A's. Yeah, so
that's cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned during the RTC days, savings and loan crisis, that you guys didn't really get to take advantage of it, but you did at least de-lever, so you weathered the storm.
So, yeah.
So what was that? How did that translate into 2008?
So basically what happened was we got rid of our debt, thank God, but we're sitting with all this property, unlevered, which was great, right? So, but twiddling our thumbs. And then in 1992. So right after that time period, we needed income. So we were doing a lot of receivership work my dad was getting a lot of receivership work. So we were doing it. It was fee based, and he was giving us to do the reports, and he would do the reports to the court. And then we became receivers. And then there was a period of time where we probably one of the larger receivers, definitely in Florida. And then we started doing some national stuff for the federal government. We did the first receivership, which was a trusteeship for the DOJ. I can't get into it, but there was a big bust down South America, someone that had a lot of property. And so they asked us to come in and help them take over all the assets.
Was it Colombian? He sounds like he's Colombian.
It wasn't drug related. It was bomb related. They were making bombs.
Oh, interesting.
So it was South America, and they took over his properties. Anyways, so we took over all those. So we were doing a lot of receivership work, but my brother and I were very entrepreneurial. And what happened was two things. The mandate from the court was to preserve the value of the asset. But my brother and I figured, why don't we just try to operate these businesses? We had nothing else to do. And so, as I said before, if you apply certain basic business principles to any business, you can be successful. And so we just started applying our basic principles to all these companies. And we ended up returning the assets back to the people because we turned them all around. We became like workout artists. And we got an unbelievable name and a reputation for doing workouts. And I would say 98% of the receiverships we turned back, we took them from the red and put them in the black. And so then every judge wanted us to take. So we sort of built the business. And then in 1992, Hurricane Andrew hit. And I did not like the receivership work. It was a little boring to me because I'm not an office type guy. I got to be in the field doing something, or selling or leasing. I got to be doing something around people.
Creating,
right. I'm just not, I can't sit at a desk. So I was very friendly. I was sitting on a lot of boards because I got friendly with the mayor of North Miami at the time. His name was Mike Kolodny. And he had me on every board he had. And he goes, come on, take a ride with me. This is 2 days after the storm. And we go police escort all the way down. And I was like in shock. Like it was like an atomic bomb went off in South Miami without any fire, just like a bomb with no fire residue. And I just couldn't believe it. Like I was in the car. I was like, it was tearing at my heart. You know, you see dogs and animals all over the place. You see people just walking around like lost. And I said to Mike, I said, look, I want to help. So he was going back down the next day with the police, all the mayors, and I went with them. And I remember there was a meeting, Al Chapman and I think Dave Lawrence and all the mayors and little Jimmy Tate. Because at the time, it was 92, I was only 29. So I had a lifetime by the time I was 29. So they're all talking about, you know, how are they going to take care of this mess down there? And somebody brought up, listen, we need places of worship. But there was nothing. So I raised my hand and said, listen, I got 5 or 6 developments where I got a boatload of material. I got wood, I got concrete. I said, let's ship it down. Let's build some temporary places of worship, at least where people can come and congregate. So I made that arrangements. And when I was down there, someone called me up and they go, listen, there's a lot of animals loose. We need something for the animals. And that's really toward my heart. We love animals. So we started working on getting with Purina and dog and cat, you know, food companies to get all the food down there. And because I was around and involved and in the middle of this, there was a lot of builders were going down, coming in from all around. It was like the Wild West, yeah. And they were just taking advantage of people, unlicensed builders and unlicensed contractors, just taking people's money and signing bogus contracts. So the Herald did an article of 10 qualified, respectable contractors that you should call, unbeknownst to us. Tate Development Corporation was like number 1. It was towards the top. And our phones just started ringing off the hook. And fast forward, we had 2 lines at the time. We ended up going to a 10-line system. My wife and my brother's wife were answering phones. And we quickly set up a rebuilding development company where I brought a guy in from Rome, New York. His name was Joe. And we literally created South Dade into 4 quadrants. And I had 4 property managers I set up and a bunch of guys. And we all took care of these areas. And we were just getting 50 calls a day. And I was doing it myself. And we would drive down there. And every house you went to, you wrote a contract. And you had to do an estimate. And as quick as we go down, do the estimate, bring it back to them, we had word processing. And it took 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours sometimes to get down there. So, and you only had so much light, right? So you're down there, you ride up, it starts to get dark, you start heading back. We want to get here till 9 o'clock. We drop it off at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Word processing has it. I go home, get a couple hours of sleep, be back out by 5 in the morning, come by here, pick up the contracts, go back down, try to sign the deals, get the checks, meet with the insurance companies, and repeat my day.
Why did it take so long to get down there?
There were no roads. The roads were destroyed.
Everything was fucked up.
Everything was closed. So, and they were controlling who can go in and who can go out. So we just had my first daughter. Her name was Jordan. And I said to my wife, I go, look, Jenny, I can be, and I was home a lot at that time because, you know, I was a 9-to-5er because we were just doing shit in the office. It was like boring stuff, but we were good at it. But it was boring. So I was home for dinner and stuff. And I said to my wife, I go, look, I think there's an amazing opportunity here, but you're not going to see me. Do you mind taking care of raising Jordan for a year? And I'll just come home to sleep, but I'm going to hustle. But this is going to be a game changer for us. She goes, no, I got it. Do what you got to do. And she was the best. My wife is a great partner in that regard. And I did. I literally was working 24 hours. I think I was going on 2-3 hours sleep. And so was everyone in the office. We ended up rebuilding over 2,500 residences.
Wow.
And it was a good time for us. It was a good time for the people, because we were able to, give back to them and get them back in their homes. Our quality was obviously good, and everybody was happy. And the insurance companies were happy. We were. If a project cost $500,000 to rebuild, it really only cost us $250,000. But you don't know that going in, right? Because whenever you do renovations, there's all these unknowns. Yeah. So there's a lot of calculated risk. So you do very fat, a lot of buffers, a lot of protection in your estimates, and you show the insurance companies. There's nothing. We show them. They said, "Look, we just don't know." They were just so happy to get these claims resolved. So they were writing checks. We were getting contracts. We were putting people back in the homes, and everything was going great. And then what put it in overdrive was, do you remember Al Sunshine? Shame on You.
I know he's got something to do with the sunshine laws.
No. So Al Sunshine was a reporter on TV, I think WTVJ, and he would embarrass you if you do something wrong business-wise. And so people would call Al, and sort of like Shame on You, Howard.
Right? Help you, Howard.
Yeah, Help You, Howard. Yeah. Right. So Al Sunshine was like Shame on You. That was his thing, Shame on You. So if someone had a problem with someone was taking advantage, he would go out, he'd investigate. And if he determined that they were really being scumbags on TV, he would embarrass them, call them out, give their name, their address.
This is when TV actually mattered.
Right. I like this. Yeah. We should start doing this.
Yeah, we should, right?
And like a big shame on you.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And so he called the office and he wanted us to go to his house. And I'm like, I'm not doing his house. So he called my dad, who he knew. And my dad's like, Jimmy, you got to do me a favor, Al Sunshine. I said, Dad, I'm not doing fucking Al Sunshine's house. He's like, you have to. He asked me to do it, and you just have to do it. I'm like, Dad, I'm not. This was a little battle. Fast forward, I go down, I meet with him. He goes, just meet with him. So I did. I go, Mr. Sunshine, hi, I'm Jimmy Tate, Stanley's son. He goes, I know. He goes, I'm so happy you're here. Here's my house. I said, not so fast. I said, there's got to be some ground rules here. I said, I don't need a big shame on you. And I explained to him the whole process. I said, we do the best job we can. My estimates are not estimates, they're guesstimates. I'm going to do the best job I can, but there's so much shit behind the walls. I can't see everything. But I don't want any of your nonsense. So he goes, Jimmy, are you kidding me? I can't get anyone to call me back. I promise you it will be worth your while. So what he did was, we put up our sign. So the beginning, he decided to do how quality builders should act. And at the beginning of his show, he was showing his experience, who he picked, and the reasons he picked us, which were all a credit to us. And every day he would show our sign with our phone number.
Wow.
So right when I thought it couldn't get any busier, it got busier.
Damn.
So it was a very good 4-year period for us. And then also during that time period, we got into another business because we were doing all this receivership work and we realized that we were pretty good just a business. And someone came to us with an idea in the apparel industry. And, suffice to say, everything they told us was not accurate, but we did take an order, and every mistake you can make, like every possible mistake you can make, we made. And that first year, we still made money. I couldn't believe it. And
in the apparel business.
In the apparel business. So we started a company called TKO Apparel. And we still have that company. And this year we did $150 million.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
TKO, is that like Total Knockout?
No, it was Tate Cone Offshore. So the gentleman that got us involved, his name was Richard Cone. And we used to do something called 807, which was a tax type deal, because in order to get the factories in our country started just to go away. So, but you had all these mills, so in South Carolina and the Carolinas. And so in order to save the mill industry, they said, if you can buy U.S. fabric, assemble everything here. So you buy your piece goods here, you buy all your product here, ship it to Dominican Republic, you can bring it back under what's called an 807 treaty. And it's like, you don't pay tax. And so it was a good way to develop product in this hemisphere, which back then, to go to China, which was not as prevalent as it is today, would take an extra 2 months. So, from there to here on a boat was much faster. So we did 807. Our first client was Ralph Lauren. Second client was Izod.
Oh,
which I
cool.
told them the story.
That's amazing. Full circle.
And then we started a company by, oh my God, just lost the name of it. It was a big company like in the late 80s. They tried to buy us. And the reason they ended up not buying us, so they said, look, you need to own your own brands. You guys are really good, but you're private label. So you're dependent on everybody else. You need to become self-dependent, so more vertical. So I said, okay. So we decided, all right, we're going to go create a brand. So my first one was with Garth Brooks. We're going to do a whole brand called G. And I never met Garth. I was dealing with his agent. We did a whole design around it. It was really cool. Went to Kmart. They loved the idea. And we were going to do a deal with Kmart, a single brand deal with Kmart. And right before we launched, Garth Brooks had like a personality issue. Changed his name to Chris Gaines and decided he wanted to play baseball and no longer do music.
I never heard of that. I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah. So with all this time and effort,
Really?
and all this product, and all the stuff we sold at Magic in Vegas, just went to hell. So I was like, I will never do that again. I reamed the manager. So we went back and we somehow got involved with, Tim McGraw. Because we want to do like a country, like jeans and more of a country flair.
Are you a country music guy?
I like country music, but I just, at the time, I believed in denim and long shelf life type product. So I said to the manager, I said, listen, I will not do a deal with Tim unless I meet him, I look him in the eyes, and I get a good feel. That's rule number one.
I hate these fucking agents, dude.
Yeah, right? So
the agents are the fucking worst.
they are, but they protect their client.
Yeah, but do they? Yeah, I guess they do,
They
right?
do.
But it's like, fuck, like, shit never works out when an agent's involved, I feel like.
Well, I'll give you an example of how it didn't work out here. Well, I'll give you two examples of how it didn't work out.
And by the way, I know you have a 5 o'clock. Do we need to wrap this
shit.
up pretty soon?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I can, whenever you want.
We'll go on for another 2 hours, right, Ben?
So, all right, I'll talk fast. So this is interesting. So I fly to Chicago. He's doing a concert. We have some Crown Royal together and play some basketball together and just had a great time with him. I met Faith Hill, his wife, and I said, all right, I said, look, Tim, look me in the eye, shake my hand, tell me I have a deal, and I'll deal with your manager at this point forward. Jimmy, we have a deal. These are the terms. I love your product. I love where you want to go with this. I like your vision. I like you. We got a deal. Shook my hand, whatever. Deal is now up for signing, and all of a sudden, we hear from another agent out in L.A., and they completely changed the deal.
Of course.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I called Tim up. And he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I thought my manager like ran it by them, but you told me to use your attorneys in Atlanta and to deal with your agent in Nashville. You never told me about attorneys or another agent in LA. Our deal is done. It's baked. We've done all our numbers. We've sold your product. He goes, dude, I'm sorry. I said, whatever happened to my words, my bond? And he's like, yeah, but I go, yeah, but nothing. You're fucking done. Nope. That was it. He goes, what do you mean? What do you mean? I go, lose my fucking number. That was it. So I stopped with him. So then somebody knew we were trying to get a deal. And this is a crazy one. They brought me up to meet Damon Dash and Jay-Z to buy Rockaware.
Buy Rockaware.
Yeah, to buy Rockaware. So now this is a big company. And I didn't really know Jay-Z. I didn't know who Jay-Z was. I didn't know who Damon Dash was at the time. And I'm like, well, does your product transcend demographics? He goes, yeah, like, you mean like white people? I go, yeah. He goes, I'll tell you what, I got a concert in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to ASU, Arizona State. Doesn't get any whiter than that.
Yeah.
He goes, blonde hair, blue eyes. He goes, you're coming with B and me. I go, okay. So I fly out there.
Mean, that's where all the militias are in Arizona.
So we
it's
go.
It's as white as it gets there.
Right, it's as white as it gets there. So we go out there. I'll never forget, we stayed at Phoenician, had a great time, partied with them, great people. B was actually writing a book at the time. And we go to this concert and they bring me in and I'm like in the backstage area with them. And he goes, just wait, this is going to blow your mind. Because I'm just thinking urban hip hop, like that's all that's going to listen to their music. There had to be 80,000 blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls and guys screaming like raving lunatics. I was in shock. And I looked at him, he goes, told you. And I'm like, no way. I couldn't believe it. I came back, I told my brother. He's like, I said, Kenny, I was there, I witnessed it. I'm telling you, this guy's product goes across all lines. Like, it transcends everything. Like, everybody loves this guy. Then I started doing it, and then I realized, like, hey, I said to my kids, because I'm pretty private business and family, I said, hey, guys, you know who Jay-Z is? What? So then I realized, and then I started realizing he's a big deal.
Sounds like you need to do something with Bad Bunny now.
No. No Bad Bunny.
No Bad Bunny?
No Bad Bunny. So we actually had a great relationship. So he had 2 Ukrainian guys, let's just leave it nicely, that he wanted me to buy out. And he and Damon wanted to stay in. So these guys were tough guys. And I figured, I made my deal with them, and it was done deal. And we're going through everything, but this was a big deal because the EBITDA on this company was $24 million. So the purchase price was over $120 million. And so I had to go to Wall Street for that. So we're doing our dog and pony shows on Wall Street, and we got most of the money done. And I'm with Jay, and let's just say fast forward, he didn't quite understand that when we were buying his name, brand, image, and likeness, what that really meant. And he didn't like what it really meant. And because he wanted to, still control his own name, brand, and image. And I won't get into the details on this because I really don't want this public. But let's just say we had a little fight at the Four Seasons at lunch.
Did you bring out those karate skills?
No, but when he stood up and slammed the table and broke glasses, I didn't flinch. I just looked at him like, you stupid motherfucker, read a contract. And I said, Jay, sit down. Seriously, sit down. Because I've been working with him. I shadow managed this company for 9 months, turned it around, made it like extremely efficient, teed him up. And fast forward, I just told him I had about $900,000 into the due diligence and legal fees. I said, you write me a check, I'll terminate the contract. He wrote me a check that week. That was it. So I said, no more celebrities. I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
And
too many fucking egos.
Yeah. So we just started creating our own brands without celebrities, and it was all product driven. And then, so at the end of the day, I learned product is king, right? No matter
we're
what.
We're going to sell them on Cinderfit after this podcast, Ben.
There you go.
So whatever you create, as long as you have the right product, it's going to sell. Right design, right price, right product. So product is king, and that's where we focus. We ended up then doing a deal with Bongo Jeans, and whatever. That didn't work out, but we stuck with our product, and now we have a great business, great brands, and it's doing quite well.
That's amazing. By the way, have you ever heard of the Garth Brooks serial killer theory?
No.
Every city that Garth Brooks has had a tour in, there's been a murder, like a serial killer murder. And there's this theory that Garth Brooks is a serial killer. Every time he goes to a new city,
that's a good one.
There's a sketchy death.
I told you he has a personality disorder.
I know when you said that, I had never heard that part, but I've heard of the serial.
Oh shit! Here we go.
We're gonna have to do some googling after this.
Chris Gaines, baby. Chris Gaines
loves a good conspiracy theory.
Oh, I do. I love it.
Google Chris Gaines.
Strap on the tinfoil. I'm in.
So
should we scoot forward to Bahia Mar? Let's talk about today's project.
Yeah, let's talk about today. Let's talk about North Miami since we're here too. Yeah. Let's just talk Padel too, or paddle. Do you own that land too?
Yes.
How's that paddle court doing?
So
we love shit talking paddle players all the time.
Right. So that's my son-in-law, Aharon, and it was his idea. And they're really top tier courts. They're great courts.
Is there a demand for it? Because I feel like there's a fucking paddle court in every corner here.
There appears to be a demand, which is kind of nice because when we came into this office, like right after the RTC, because I had to get rid of my office in Hollywood because we weren't building, couldn't really afford to be anywhere. So I made a deal. That's when we moved back in here with our father, who I took every effort to get away from. Ended up, talk about full circle.
Yeah. Came
back here, but we were actually on the 5th floor. And then we needed more space, so we came down here because he wasn't using half of this. And so that's how we came back here, back then in like 1989, 1990. So my brother and I ended up buying that property because we're in the process of site planning this.
You guys own the property next door too?
Yeah.
That really cool architecturally, like, I don't know what it looks like. Did you see the building earlier?
Oh, this one, that way. You're talking
Maybe
about
it's that one.
Yeah, no, we don't. So
okay.
the James Lloyd Wright type. Well,
Yeah, it looks like, yeah.
Right, it used to be. It's not. It used to look like that.
Yeah.
So that was Deutsche Ireland, but Tom Ireland. But no, that's owned by the guy that's building the apartments right behind us, the gardens.
Yep.
So that's there. So when they built that, we decided to buy this property and do a site plan for this. So we have a CUP, which is a conditional use permit for 348 units and a grocery store to go on this property in there. And my son-in-law.
You guys have the anchor ready or no?
I do, but I can't say who it is.
Oh shit! It's a grocery store though.
Yeah.
Is this Allure, North Miami? Is that the name of this project?
No, so Allure North Miami, I'm doing with the Rocks, which is
Okay.
on Northeast 18th Avenue. I'll tell you about that in a second. So we're just in the process of getting our site plan now. So we have our conditional use, which is basically a site plan, but now we have to do the formality of the site plan. So we should have that in about a month.
Cool. Yeah, North Miami. I mean, do you know Lyle Stern at all?
I do.
Yeah, Lyle's a huge fan of the podcast. He's hooked us up with a bunch of different guests as well, and we started talking about North Miami, and Lyle's like, he started sniffing up here.
Right.
So be aware that he's taking a look at the retail up here.
Right. So he's a little late in the game.
Yeah.
So. But
he's listening.
Most of the stuff has been snatched up.
Yeah.
But the reason like North Miami has always interests me, besides me living 2 minutes from here, is that it's one of the few thoroughfares from 95 right to the beach, right?
Yep.
So that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
that's a recipe for huge growth.
It's just here in 79th, really, right?
Right, yeah.
And
MacArthur.
And
Right.
123rd Street is kind of like the main street of North Miami.
It is.
It's got great bones. All the retail comes right up to the street front.
Right.
Listen,
We were Miami 21 before Miami 21 existed.
yeah, exactly. And the only thing that kills the street, I don't know who owns the street here. Is it the county or it's probably FDOT, right?
No, it's city.
It's county?
It's city and county, depending upon
so
where it is.
the county could do a better job of like making this a little more pedestrian friendly because the traffic moves way too fast for the amount of retail that's here.
So I will tell you, I've worked on a lot of committees with the city back when Mike Kolodny, where we're actually going to create a pedestrian street with center parking and then put all the traffic on 123rd, or 124th and 126th and bypass downtown and make it more like Hollywood. And then it just never went through. And then we were working on another concept just to put in medians and take up more of the sidewalk and rework all that area. And they put some medians in, but not enough. I agree with you. So there's a couple things in play right now. We actually submitted a P3 to redevelop all of downtown, the police station, city hall,
Yep.
commercial, multifamily, all around the museum. The museum would have been the epicenter. It was Nichols Broche did it for. It was off the charts. It became too political, and I just said, look, I don't need that at this point in my life, so I backed away.
Yeah, those are tough.
So we're doing this. We have the Allure project, which is 360 units, which we're doing with the Rock, Sergio Rock, and old friend from high school and college, and our business partner.
And Sergio used to own a bunch of stuff on Flagler, right?
So Sergio Rock's family, prior to Mo Shimano coming into town, was the largest owner of real estate in downtown Miami.
Yeah.
And right now, I think he's probably second largest.
Who is Sergio?
Yeah.
Yeah. He sold a lot of his properties
yeah.
to Moshe.
To Moshe, yeah. That's what I said. So Moshe now is because of the Rocks.
Right.
Yeah.
But they still own quite a bit of property down there.
Yeah.
And great family, great people. So we did an Allure, a development in Boca called Allure. It was very successful. We developed it like in 2018, I guess, or 17. And then the city of North Miami wanted us to develop here because no developers were coming here. And the mayor called me up because Jimmy, this is in 2019. His name was Philippe Biamin. And he's like, Jimmy, you got to get some of your developer friends to focus on North Miami. They all bypass us. I said, honestly, it's because the commission here is, I love you guys, but like it's too difficult to do business here. You need to be more business friendly. So he goes, okay, can you set up some meetings for us and our city manager? So I did. I brought him down to Related. I spoke to the Adler Group. I spoke to 13th Floor. I spoke to everybody. I brought Kobe Karp in to help him with some street design. And it wasn't happening because everyone would say to me in front of the mayor, well, Jimmy, why aren't you developing there? And I'm like, I don't shit where I eat. I live here. My kids live here. My office here. I don't want to develop here. I just don't need the headache. And so the mayor was like, you have to develop something here. So I'm like, I don't want to. He goes, get in the car with me. So we drove, and he drove me to every property they own. So they had these 2 lots next to ferries. And I said, look, these are very difficult, but if you help me make the numbers work, we'll do it. And they basically did a sweetheart deal on the land, and they got us $15.5 million of CRA money and $5.5 million of TIF. And we were ready to break ground in January 2023. And I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but let's just say the commission changed. They weren't as accommodating as the other commission, and they delayed sort of the process. And unfortunately, when we were ready to break ground, interest rates were at 1.5. By the time we worked out all the nonsense with the city and the new city manager and the new CRA director, it was now the middle of the summer going into fall of 2023, and interest rates are now at 7.5%. It doesn't underwrite. Right. So we had to table it. And then we ran out of time, and then we had to renegotiate with them to get more time. It became a little litigious, or almost litigious, but we got the extensions, we worked it out, and now interest rates are coming down. So it underwrites now. But now the problem is, at this point in my life, it's risk reward. I don't want to be signing personally on personal guarantees of a $110 million, $120 million loan. Just don't. Yeah. So we're working with some partners to see. It's a great deal. It underwrites. It's great architecture, very efficient design. And we're just trying to see if we can get a co-developer to come in with us to pick up some of the...
And the demand is there.
So I believe the demand's there. I believe the demand's all over South Florida.
What's the project here called? The Gardens?
Well, the Gardens is right here. Yes.
Gardens?
Yes. They're at 94%.
94, huh?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And those are probably not cheap rents.
They're over $3 a foot. I think they're about $320 a foot.
A lot of concessions, or?
I think net of concessions are about $320 a foot.
Okay.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So we underwrote at about $350 a foot. So, but we're high rise, they're mid rise, and we're a little bit more luxurious because we feel that we're going to draw from Solomia, where at the time when we were underwriting this, they were getting $4.25 a square foot rent.
Damn.
Which was really high. But
yeah.
They got a great product, great amenities, great area, and they're sort of enclosed. So we figured, like, especially with University of Miami, all the people working there, all the car dealerships, if we can come with a product that's, $1 a square foot less or 75 cents a square foot less, same quality, if not better, from a luxurious standpoint, with the amenities and the fitness center and all that we'll be able to draw from them. So everything was great until interest rates went through the roof.
Sure.
So we sort of tabled that, but now I think we should have that out of the ground first quarter of next year.
Is North Miami going to get a Brightline station here on 123rd Street?
So I'm on the Florida Council 100. So the owner of Brightline is actually one of the members of Florida Council 100. And he was telling me that yes, but it's going to require some private developers to participate with the development of it. So they have it on their schedule. Maybe like a feeder rail. They're talking about doing different type of feeder rails from it. But also Aventura has one. So
Aventura, and there's talk about 151st Street up by FIU. I think that's one of the priority ones.
Right. So that's another one. So this is more priority than 151st.
123rd is?
123rd. Yeah.
Really interesting. Yeah, I would see that. I mean, because it's a connector.
Right. So this is on the minds of the county. 151st is on the minds of the developers of Solomia.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they're using a lot of influence to get it done, which is good. Look, that will help that project.
Yeah. The
one here will help this project. So I want them both to happen. But they're going to happen. It's a matter of time.
How long do you think? How far out are we? You think 10 years?
Oh, definitely happen by 10 years.
By 10 years?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you
Both
think
of
we'll have a Brightline station on 23rd Street.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think traffic as a whole is going to change because we're like with the Bahia Mar, we met almost a year and a half, 2 years ago with the VTOL, eVTOL, like the flying drones.
Electronic vertical takeoff and landing.
Right. I think that's going to have a big play here.
You think that shit's real? Is it coming yet?
No,
it's been coming for like...
It's very real. There's just some FAA issues I have to work with, but they got...
More bureaucracy.
The people I met with, it's a $52 billion European country.
Would you get in one of those things?
Would I get in them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a rule: 2 engines, 2 pilots.
Yeah. 4 blades and an AI sounds a little sketchy.
No. Right. Maybe someone else.
So tell us a little bit about Bahia Mar, because I saw somewhere you said that was like one of the most complicated projects you've worked on. It was like playing 3D chess.
But it was beyond. Yeah. So Bahia Mar is a very unique, very special piece of property. It's a peninsula, Bahia Mar, where ocean meets bay or bay meets ocean. It's got the ocean on the east side. We got a 40-acre parcel, of which we have a 250 mega yacht marina and about 16 acres of upland developable property. It was a very difficult, process, but we finally got the entitlements. And it was really funny. We bought the property. We bought the land lease from Blackstone.
Who owns land? The city?
So the city owns the land, and city owns the land, and we were able to finally, after 3 iterations, get a site plan that was approved by everybody. So they agreed to give us a 100-year lease, a 50-year lease with a 50-year option, which starts when we start construction. We currently have like a 43-year lease. So it will be over 100 years. And then in order to fund all the give back, there's like a public walkway, 20-foot wide, beautiful pedestrian walkway, 3/4 miles around the perimeter, all on the boardwalk with seating. We have a 2-acre park. We did a Marina Village area where the Shorely is at, which is the old Fisher Island ferry that we converted. It's beautiful. Google that, the Shorely. Blow your mind. We just had Nora and Pure there. Had 3,000 people show up.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. But that's a very cool public give back. It's on the public sidewalk, but on our property. We have 8 kiosks and the Jungle Queen, an upland bar, and then the Shorely. It's great property. And each kiosk is a quality type food tenant. So like Burgers and Shakes from Miami Beach. Mm-hmm. George, he's one of our tenants. We have Yips from Wynwood. We have Sushi Song, who's one of the largest sushi restaurateurs in Broward and Palm Beach counties. We have Taco Vibes, which is a very cool taco. Blue Steel Pizza, very well known. We have Mason's Lobster, which is a national lobster roll company. So we have great genre of food, all different types of food products. And we have a Fresh Gardens, which is health food gardens, salads, smoothies, etc. like that. And then 2 bars. So that's at the Marina Village. So in any event, we needed to be able to have this garage built because the city wanted us to put everything in the center of the property in order to accommodate the boat show. Well, parking structure is a lot more money than just surface parking and the type of parking we were going to do, which would have been 2 stories. So fast forward, we said we want to float bonds, and they would have to be municipal. So we did a Bahia Mar CDD. And the beauty of that is a CDD has to own the property. And the city was then able to transfer the fee of the property to the CDD because it's another governing agency. CDD doesn't need to utilize, CDD can't own property it doesn't need by law. So they have to get an appraisal, but the only people that could afford to buy that land were us because we controlled all the land around it. It was landlocked for over 100 years. So we got an appraisal, we bought the air rights. So now we're able to sell condos, fee simple title. So it was a very complicated deal. But at the end of the day, the city's gonna, city's like our partner. We're giving them a percentage of the sales. We set it up a trust fund to give back to the community, which is something that caught Paola's interest, where a percent of every sale goes into our trust fund. We have 5 trusts. One's for environmental, one's for deal with homelessness, One's to deal with workforce housing or affordable housing. Another is to deal with STEM programming for those in areas that don't get proper education and they need more help. And I can't remember what the fifth one was. But the idea is to take a percentage of each sale to create these trust funds. They'll be controlled by trustees, not by the politicians, independent, and for the sole purpose of giving back to the city to help these core areas that we believe we've identified that the city needs to improve upon. So Bahia Mar, besides being one of the more difficult developments we got involved with, it's one that's really hit home. It's one that's very special to me, that I've been able to put my heart and soul into it. Same with my brother and Sergio Rock. And we brought in the Related Group to be our partner to develop the high-rise condos as well. So that's a mixed-use project at the highest level. We've signed up St. Regis, so we have a St. Regis hotel. So it's a 5-star luxury branded resort hotel, resort condos, residences, and commercial, all under the brand St. Regis. So it's a white glove service atmosphere. And then we'll have restaurants where you can dock and dine. So it's a very cool waterfront type community, unlike anything anywhere actually other than Fisher Island.
How many condos in total is it?
So we're allowed to go up to 410.
Okay.
We probably won't go near that number because, you have to build condos that are going to sell. So it's one thing to be allowed to build that many units, but you got to also be functional and find out, you want every unit to face the ocean or face the bay, and you want a hotel that's functional. So we'll probably end up with closer to 350 or less, which will make the community happy because it's less burden on
less
traffic.
Intense, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. So what's for the future for Tate? I mean, are you going to just keep knocking down these monster multi-billion-dollar projects, or what do you see going forward? Would you ever retire?
It's funny. I was just I just got a list of questions. I'm not allowed to say. I don't know if I'm allowed to share this because I said don't send it to anyone. But one of the we were just listed, my brother and I, on the Power Broker list of people in one of the magazines, and they asked you 10 questions, and so one of them was, you retire on Friday. What do you do on Monday? And unbeknownst to me and my brother, we both responded the same way. We both said, go back to work on Monday. So awesome. I don't know if I know how to retire because it's just not in me as a person. I would like to figure out how to cut back, mitigate my risk. I'm all in to whatever I do. So if I'm with my grandkids, I'm all in. If I'm with my kids, I'm all in. If I'm at work, I'm all in. And it's been good for me because I know how to balance all of those separately and create balance in my life, and it brings me a peace of mind. So my kids know when I'm with them, I'm not answering the phone. I'm with them. And same thing with my grandkids. But in my business, you need to be relevant. If you want to be successful, you have to be relevant. You can't be relevant if you're not in the game, and you can't be in the game if you're doing it half-assed, right? So it's I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'd like to slow down and stay in the game, and I don't know how to do that. So
what do you like to spend your money on and your time on?
I spend it on my family.
Yeah.
So like I have a bunch of homes, but all for family.
But for like second and third homes?
Yeah.
Where?
Carolinas, Colorado.
We're in Carolinas.
So I have 2 homes in a place called Hound Ears. It's a golf course community. And I just bought a beautiful resort-type home in another community called Linville Ridge Country Club.
In North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina. So I have a compound in this one community. I have 2 houses, a big yard, lot, fire pit.
You guys spend the summers up there?
We do. We summer there, and then I try to spend the winter.
That's the Cuban Alps, right?
It's my Alps.
Yeah. That's what it's called, the Cuban Alps up there.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Like
that's Felipe's
the
label.
Asheville area? It's near Asheville?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Okay. So we're in the Northwest. We're much higher than Asheville.
Okay.
So it's called the South Florida Alps is what it really is.
Yeah.
Like I've been going there since 1970 and as a kid. And then my kids grew up going there when we got a house. And so it's just like part of my nature, and we love it up there. My kids love it up there. But it changed because now everybody from here, we used to go there to get away, and now everybody from here goes up there because it's much easier.
They followed you.
It's the Cuban Alps
I don't know
now.
if they follow me, but yeah, Asheville is. Actually, my wife's Cuban, so watch it.
And you guys have a place in Colorado too.
Yes, Snowmass Club. We have.
You guys get out there often or no?
for skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my middle daughter was a snowboard instructor for the Aspen Ski Company. Now she's back here working. But so we got one of them for her when she was there, and then I bought one. And my brother had one. Then he ended up building a house out there. So I said, keep your Snowmass Club, because between the three, they're all 3 bedrooms. So
I mean, real estate up there has gotten insane.
it's insane. It's insane everywhere.
So you're more into buying experiences than buying
Yes.
things.
Yeah, I don't really care about things. I
Yeah.
have one car. I don't care about 20 cars. I have a fun boat, but I think I'm going to get rid of it because I can't get my kids on it.
Yeah.
They all love the idea,
Yeah.
but the reality is every time I go, hey guys, you want to go on the boat? No. I'm like, well, I'm selling the boat. So, but other than that, I buy experience type thing. That's well put. I don't buy luxury. I'm not a collector of anything.
Yeah.
Like nothing means that much to me other than my family.
Yeah.
Like I don't get, I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for
I
me.
hear you.
I love it.
So.
I love it. Well, Jimmy, thanks for sitting down with us and spending so
Yeah.
much time. I mean, it's an amazing story, and we really enjoy getting to know you and hearing it.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate the time again to know you guys, and appreciate the Basil Hayden.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Good
Great
stuff.
calling the basil, by the
Yeah,
way.
it was delicious.
Cheers.
It's nice, right?
Yeah,
Cheers.
it's excellent. We're going to leave you with a bottle, too.
You're the man.
All right.
You're the man.
All
That's a
right.
good one. So subtle
Yeah.
smoke. I like
Yeah.
it.
It's good.
Yeah, it's very good. So
Cool.
appreciate the time, guys.
All right.
For
Thanks,
sure.
Jimmy.
Good luck.
Have a great
Cheers.
afternoon.
You got it.
Have
Bye-bye.
fun at that meeting now that you had a cocktail in you.